All right, let's dive into LearnDash, the #1 learning management system, that's an LMS, for WordPress. So let's kick things off with a question. If you're building an online course, how do you go beyond just a simple list of videos to create a truly professional, engaging, educational experience?
Well, the answer is pretty simple. You need a dedicated system. And today, we're going to break down how LearnDash gives you that entire ecosystem to turn a standard WordPress site into a really powerful learning platform.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about what's usually the biggest hurdle for anyone creating a course. Just actually building the thing. You know, the biggest roadblock for a lot of people is figuring out how to build a really structured, logical learning path, especially if you're not a coder. And the solution, really, is to get visual. That's where something like an intuitive drag-and-drop course builder comes in. It lets you map out your entire curriculum without ever having to look at a line of code. See, it's all built on this really clear hierarchy. You start with your main course, right? Then you fill it with your core lessons. You can break those lessons down even further into topics, and then, of course, you sprinkle in quizzes to make sure people are getting it. And the best part, you can move everything around, rearrange it on the fly, just by dragging and dropping. But look, building the course, that's just step one. Now we get to the next big challenge in online learning. How do you keep your students locked in, motivated, and actually on track to finish what they started? We've all been there, right? Online distractions can absolutely kill course completion rates. And that's exactly why LearnDash created this thing called focus mode. It literally just strips away all the non-essential stuff. You know, the sidebars, headers, footers, and leaves only the course content right there front and center. It sounds like a small change, but trust me, it makes a huge difference in keeping learners focused. Another really clever way to guide that learning journey is to control the pace. They call it drip feed content. Basically, you can unlock new lessons on a set schedule. Maybe a new module drops every Monday. This is great because it stops students from getting overwhelmed and helps make sure they're actually absorbing the material before jumping ahead. Okay, so your student has gone through the material. Now what? How do you actually make sure that learning is sticking? And maybe, more importantly, how do they prove what they've learned? Well, LearnDash really nails this with a super powerful assessment engine. For starters, you get 8 different types of quizzes. So you've got so much more flexibility than just, plain old multiple choice. You can do fill in the blank, sorting exercises, free-form text questions, you name it. It lets you really test how well someone understands the topic. And it's not just about automated tests either. For the more in-depth stuff, you can actually require students to upload assignments. Think about it. Essays, design files, maybe even code projects. This lets you do a manual review, give that personalized one-on-one feedback, and get a much, much richer sense of their skills. And here's the best part. When your students nail it, you can automatically award them with official customized certificates. Now, this is way more than just a digital high five. It actually validates their achievement. It gives them a real credential they can stick on a resume or share on LinkedIn, which, let's be honest, is a massive, massive motivator to get to the finish line. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. If you've ever had to run a program for, say, a graduate school or a corporate training department, you know that just managing all the users is a huge time-sucking task. And that brings us to our next point. This is where LearnDash really shines in helping you automate a ton of that admin work. For instance, you can set course prerequisites. This forces a logical path. So a student has to complete Intro to Marketing before they can even get into the Advanced SEO course. Makes perfect sense. It also puts communication on autopilot. So instead of you having to manually send out emails all the time, you can set up automatic triggers for all those key moments. A welcome message when someone enrolls, a notification when their assignment is graded, or maybe even a helpful little nudge if they happen to fail a quiz. This saves an unbelievable amount of time. And for any kind of organization, this group management feature is an absolute game changer. It's perfect for splitting up your learners, whether you're talking about different departments in a company or different classes in a university. You can enroll an entire group in one go and even assign a group leader, like a manager or a TA, to track the progress of their specific team. Super powerful. So when we take a step back and put all of these individual pieces together, what do we really have? What you have is a complete, fully integrated ecosystem. It really does handle every single step of the online education journey, from that initial idea and course creation to keeping students engaged, all the way through to assessment and automated management. It literally turns your website into a true learning hub. So at the end of the day, LearnDash is built to be so much more than just a playlist of videos. It's designed to meet the really tough requirements of places like universities, professional academies, and big corporate training programs. Places that demand real structure, deep assessment, and serious accountability from their learners.
So the big takeaway from all this is that the tools are right here, right now, to create something way more powerful and transformative than just a simple online course. And that really leaves us with just one final question to think about. How will you use these tools to build your learning community?